We are officially 1 year in here. We have our 1 year anniversary at Dude Food. So we're gonna break it down, tell you guys the founding story about how Dude Food came about, a little bit more what we do, and how the first year has been. So let's jump right into it. The first question I get when people come up to me and they ask what I do, and I tell them I run a meat company called Dude Food, they usually say two things. What the hell is Dude Food, and how'd you get in the meat business? Well, let's address that second thing first. So I actually grew up on a family farm. My parents had a small family farm in Wisconsin where we raised and milked dairy cattle. On the side, me and my brothers raised some beef cattle, some pigs, and some chickens, mainly just so we could have meat for our family to eat. But eventually it kind of started to expand. We started selling some of that to friends and neighbors who were asking if they could buy some directly from our farm. Long story short, essentially that started to grow a little bit, and just 1 year ago, Dude Food came about. Now, Dude Food has expanded far beyond just our family farm. We would not be able to handle the capacity of the orders that we get and supply all the meat. So what we did is we went out and we found about 50 other family farms and butcher shops right here in the Midwest, meaning Wisconsin, Minnesota, Iowa. And we kind of brought these people together and we said, hey, instead of trying to go sell your own meat, right, and have your own website and kind of do all that stuff, we're trying to, bring this all together and sell it under Dude Food. So that is exactly what we have done. We've built these different partnerships with trusted farms in these different states who we get all the meat from, and then we bring it here to our warehouse and we ship it out, right? So that is essentially what Dude Food is. Dude Food is a meat subscription box. If you haven't tried us out yet, you go on our website, you order a box of meat, shows up at your door, all that kind of good stuff. Meat subscription boxes have definitely become more popular here over the past couple of years, and for good reason mainly, right? People want to know where the meat's coming from. People want to know what they're eating. People don't want to buy meat that's coming from the grocery store because, God knows what is getting put in there nowadays. And if you didn't know, over 85% of the meat market is literally owned by 4 giant corporations, Tyson, Cargill, JBS, and whatever the last one is. But anyways, these companies, probably could care less about what you're eating in your meat. But odds are, if you go to the grocery store, or even if you go to some butchers, that the meat is coming from one of those 4 companies. This creates a huge problem, not just for you, the consumer, and eating lower quality cuts of meat, but also in the fact of our farming system and the way we supply food to ourselves is not exactly very sustainable, especially here for the long term, if we are constantly relying on these 4 companies to essentially provide all of our meat. As we saw during COVID and during 2020, you went to go to the grocery store and there was not any meat left, right? We can see how fast, how crazy shit gets when something goes wrong. So that is why we wanted to start Dude Food. Now, again, as I mentioned, there's a lot of different companies that are doing this. Here at Dude Food, we're doing it differently. Mainly right now, if you go online, you type in meat subscription box companies, there's essentially 2 different things that's going to pop up, right? One of them is going to be kind of a more bigger company of some names you've heard of, and the other side of things will be smaller family farms who, as mentioned, are trying to sell meat themselves. We are right there in the middle, and I'm going to tell you why. A lot of the big companies on this side that you heard of, not going to mention any names, but you know who I'm talking about. Don't even get their meat from America, and B, if they get their meat from America, they don't actually work directly with the farmers. A lot of these companies will literally be sending out the same grocery store meat that you can buy at the store, but again, just slapping fancy marketing, fancy ads, and fancy labeling on it and sending it to your door, even though it's literally the same quality stuff you're getting from the grocery store. On the other side, if they are claiming they're working with American farmers and they are claiming their meat is 100% from America, odds are they are not working directly with the farmers, right? These companies are essentially going out, finding a big distributor that essentially sells to a ton of different butcher shops or a ton of different restaurants, and they're saying, hey, I want to buy some meat from you because I want to sell it in my box. And then they're going to a 3PL company, which is essentially just a giant storage and warehouse facility that takes care of pick, pack, and shipping, and that company is sending it out. So these companies are never actually seeing the farmers, never actually directly paying the farmers, and never actually knowing what cuts of meat are coming from where, and they're not even packing their own boxes or knowing where the stuff comes from. So a lot of other big name companies, again, that might make fancy claims and have fancy labels that we only work with 100% American farmers, we work, directly with farmers, blah, blah, blah. We work with local farmers. That is such a broad, false fake term of like we work with local farmers, that it's literally just kind of become nonsense like a lot of stuff in the meat industry. Anyways, digress a little bit. That's what you're going to have on one side. On the other side, you're going to have, John's Farms or Billy's Meats or, Western Country Cattle Meat Company or whatever cattle co, everyone's kind of got the same name. All these farmers who essentially want to try to sell their own stuff, which is absolutely amazing. Definitely a great way to buy. But there are some problems that you run into when you do that, right? As I mentioned, we are right in the middle there. We don't just have our own family farm, but we're not just going to some giant distributor, right? The reason for that being is kind of twofold. One, we truly want to work directly with the farmers and be involved in the farming process, right? We want to pay the farmers directly. We want to literally go to the farms that we are getting our meat from, right? We want the farmers to send us our meat, and we want to handle the packing. We want to handle the shipping. We want to do everything because we don't want to, again, just be some like giant meat distributor company. We truly want to show you that this is truly farm fresh meat, right? Truly coming from our office in Minnesota, going to wherever you are in the country. On the other side, as I mentioned, we don't just want to be our single farm because that creates a lot of problems for you, the consumer, right? If we were just our kind of small family farm, we wouldn't be able to have that big of an impact because stuff would constantly be sold out. We wouldn't be able to always have stock of things. Sure, you'd be supporting, our kind of family and that stuff, and that's cool. But this way, we're literally helping tons of different farmers, right? By going to different people, again, different cuts, different types of animals from different farms. So it all blends it together. So all that being said, that is why Dude Food got started. How's it going over the first year? Well, pretty amazing. Thanks to people like you and our amazing customers, we have shipped a box, at least one box, to every single state in the lower USA, right? So excluding Alaska and Hawaii. Sorry if you're in Alaska and Hawaii. We do people that try to order from there. I'm sure you guys are struggling for a good source of meat, but it's way too expensive and it takes way too long to be able to get meat there, unfortunately. Maybe eventually, not quite there yet. All the other states, though, we have literally shipped at least one box to, so it's been absolutely amazing. Again, we've been able to meet some great people, build relationships with some of our customers, doing everything in-house. We've been able to show people the farms. We've been able to help so many farmers, and that is really our goal going forward. Again, we want to be the company where if you come to us, you know your farmer it's going to, right? We don't want to just be one farm up in Minnesota that sends our stuff out. When you order from Dude Food, if you're in California, and you order from Dude Food, we want you to know that, hey, we have a partnership of 5 other farms in there who have been vetted by us. We make sure they have good quality. We make sure they're doing stuff the right way. And us being the farmers, me growing up on a farm, I know how animals should be raised. I know what a butcher process should look like, right? I know how things should look to have quality in them, right? I know if there's funky stuff going on, right? So we can very easily vet that. And if you order from that farm in California, we're like, hey, we have, 5 farms over here. It's coming from one of these farms. If you're over in Florida, hey, we have 3 farms in Nashville because it sucks to raise cattle in Florida. So your stuff's coming from Nashville, right? Or not Nashville, Tennessee, I mean. And it's going to get sent down that way, right? So that is our whole goal here with Dude Food, is to continue to expand and continue to build out. And as I mentioned, we truly are on a mission to continue to expand this, not only to continue to provide people for amazing quality and with amazing meat, but also continue to expand and help our family farmers. A few of the questions that we have gotten here over the past couple of years that we want to mention for you guys as well is, one, how do I know the meat is going to arrive frozen, right? So that's obviously the biggest worry with buying meat online is like, I don't want to order, a $200 box worth of meat and have this fancy meat show up in my house. And then it's like 50 degrees and I have to, even if you say you're going to replace it, I don't want to, have to go and email you and try to get another box. It's going to take another 2 weeks and blah, 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 all that kind of stuff, right? We have shipped to Florida in literally 130 degree heat. When we launched last year, it was literally record-breaking temperatures for like the first 3 months of summer, and we had very, very, very little issues. Again, shipping to Florida, shipping to Texas, the South is actually one of the biggest places we ship, which is amazing. So Even going down there, your meat will show up frozen. We have exclusive liners that we use. We pack our boxes with tons of dry ice, which literally essentially creates like a freezer inside of this box. It's essentially like an airtight box. All the cold air stays in there. Everything stays frozen. Of course, if there is an issue, we will end up replacing it, no doubt. But at the same time, that's really not going to happen. So you can feel confident if you haven't given us a try yet, and that's kind of worrying you. Number two is people will ask, why does this tend to be more expensive if you're cutting out the middleman and it's coming directly from the farmer? Which is a great question and makes sense in theory, but it is not true in the fact that it's usually cheaper buying directly from the farmer. That is because we cannot operate at the amount of scale that you get at the grocery store, you get from, wherever else you get your meat from, right? You got to think, if there's one giant corporation, as I mentioned, that controls a large majority of the meat market, and they can just send cattle through their process, right? And they can just inject billions and billions of dollars and build all these facilities and essentially create this, giant carousel effect of just sending cattle through there like crazy and shipping them out versus, John, the local farmer who's raising 150 cattle and, he needs, the same amount of equipment essentially, right? The same amount of land and all this other stuff, and has the same amount of expenses. It's way more expensive to do it on a smaller scale than it is to do it on a larger scale. So it's going to be more expensive, but at the same time, you are getting way more for your money, right? Again, if you want to have the peace of mind of knowing where your meat comes from, if you want to have the peace of mind of knowing that it's high quality, knowing that it's vetted, knowing that it is essentially, trustworthy food that you can put in your body, you should be willing to pay a little bit more for that, right? For knowing that. You're always going to pay more when you get more, right? And that's exactly what you get when you order from us here at Dude Food. And also you have to understand the shipping aspect of it too, right? When we ship it to your front door and you literally order a box and 2 days later it shows up at your front door, you're not driving in rush hour traffic to try to get groceries, right? You're not stopping at the store 3 nights a week because you forgot something. You got to go back and then you need to pick up this other thing and you need to go find meat, right? You're not running around spending, 2.5 hours going to Costco and standing in line and doing whatever to try to get your meat. It's showing up right at your door, right? Shipping is expensive for us. We do it for free. We send it to your door. It costs us a lot of money. But again, the convenience aspect it provides you is hopefully, worth it to you. Again, along with knowing where that meat actually comes from. So that's a quick little story about Dude Food and how we got started. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have any questions, drop below in the comments. We're going to do some more founder videos like this of me kind of talking about the business and how things go and how things work behind the scenes in the meat industry. So if there's anything specific you want to know, drop them below. Otherwise, thanks for checking us out. Dudefoods.co is the website, .co if you